We are back here on WLTH 1370M. I am Scott Cannon, flying solo, doing what I do, talking about our working class heroes here on Friday's Issues and Answers. Let me get this last call real quick before I get into the Labor Day celebration. Hello, caller.
Well, hello. Thanks for all you do.
Well, thank you.
I really enjoyed hearing. I mean, I don't enjoy the facts, but I'm glad you shared the information about UPS.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
And I would never have dreamed that.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And thank you very much for what you said about LBJ, because there are times when I may not like something personally, or someone may not have to like me. But if your policies work for me, so many people got opportunities to further their education, and all the money that Hatcher brought in here was due to the Great Society and the what do you call it, the all kinds of programs that they had in Gary and four cities at that time. I think it was Model City.
Yep.
It was very helpful. And enjoy your weekend.
Oh, well, thank you. And
okay.
Can't wait to talk to you later. All right, folks. As I said, this is Labor Day weekend. This is always an opportunity to look back and, celebrate our heroes of labor. But it's also important to understand and to follow the good news as well, to keep up on the good news. And I have some good news when it comes to organized labor. Labor unions have reached their highest level of approval in the United States since 1965. Yes. Yes. That's what I'm talking about. 71% of poll respondents to the Gallup poll say that they approve of such organizations, up from 68% last year. Prior to the pandemic, 64% said that they approved of unions. Support for unions peaked in the 1950s when 3 in 4 Americans said that they approved of unions. This increase in support for labor unions arrives amid a surge of labor activity nationwide. Petition for union elections increased 57% over the first 6 months of 2022. Yes, yes. Union victories at high-profile companies like Starbucks and Amazon in recent years have drawn and heightened public attention to labor campaign. And so, look, there's always going to be a tendency on a lot of our parts to focus on the negative in the world, but there is positivity going on in the world, and there is positivity going on when it comes to workers and workers' rights in this country. And before I have to get out of here in a few minutes, I just want to give a big shout out to all of my labor heroes historically. A. Philip Randolph, the former vice president of the AFL-CIO. I just talked about him during the Happy segment, the man who organized the March on Washington, where Martin Luther King gave his I Have a Dream speech. A. Philip Randolph worked with FDR, in the 1930s, demanded that black people be allowed to participate in the war effort during the Great Depression, when black poverty was astronomical. He told FDR that they would march if they did not let black people in, and he did. Millions of black people, especially my ancestors who came up here from the South, were able to get jobs in factories and the mills and things like that because black people were finally being allowed to participate in the industrial economy. Another one of my heroes, Cesar Chavez from the United Farm Workers, a man who fought for his people, fought for all laborers, all working class people in this country. There's a lot of people who like to whitewash a lot of things about Cesar Chavez's legacy, but he used to work with Ralph Abernathy, who was one of Martin Luther King's right-hand men. They used to go down to the U.S. border and protest illegal immigration coming into the country because they knew it did not help workers. So don't ever let liberals give you that okey doke about illegal immigration being good for the country or being good for black people or being good for even, native Hispanic people. It is not, okay? Mass immigration has never benefited working class people ever. Not in any country, especially not this one. A woman who worked with him for many years, who's still with us, Dolores Huerta, is still with us. I think she's pretty close to 90 years old at this point, but she is still here. She was right there every step of the way with Cesar Chavez. I want to give definitely a big shout out to Samuel Gompers, one of the first labor leaders in this country. Big Bill Hayward, the mother of organized labor in this country, Sarah Bagley, a woman who they're actually making a movie about, named Lucy Parsons Gonzalez. She was a black woman who was born a slave in the South, who actually married a white anarchist, and they got blamed falsely for the Haymarket explosion that took place right over there in Chicago on May Day. And he was actually hung. Her husband was hung and executed, but she spent the rest of her life fighting for labor and as an activist. Definitely have to give her a shout out. Yes. The late great Eugene Debs. It's important to talk about him. He's actually maybe the most famous third party candidate this country ever had. He was in prison and ran for president and got millions and millions of votes while in prison running. He was a left-wing socialist who ran in I believe it was 1908. I want to say the 1908 or 1904 election. Again, these are people who overcame great challenges. Definitely also, before I get kicked out of here, I want to give a big shout out to the people who are currently in the front lines of the labor movement. My man Christian Smalls from Amazon, him and Derek Parker, they actually beat the biggest company in the world earlier this year, the greatest labor victory maybe in 100 years. Christian Smalls is our modern day A. Philip Randolph, possibly. This is a man who's going to go in history books with that victory that him and Brother Parker accomplished over there at JFK 8 in New York City. I want to give a shout out definitely to Layla Dalton and Bill Whitmire, who are organizing their co-workers at Starbucks in Arizona. They're one of the ground zero stores in the unionization movement. They actually fired this young sister. She's 19 years old. She's 19 years old, and already Starbucks has already targeted her, blackballed her, fired her, but she's still fighting and taking them to court. Her and her colleague Bill Whitmire, all respect to them, and another Amazon, another sister, because these are all, these are young people, and these are also black people. Another sister, Jennifer Bates, who's fighting to unionize her people in Bessemer, Alabama at Amazon. She's been fighting a good fight. They actually lost the vote because Amazon did a whole lot of underhanded and sneaky tactics. So again, we have to celebrate these people and support these people.